All right,
Yeah.
tell everybody your name.
My name is James Carter Moore.
Where were you born?
I was born in North Carolina, Williamson, North Carolina.
What year?
I was born in 1938.
All right, who you grow up with? Your mama, your daddy?
Yeah, first it was me and my dad and my mom for until probably about 4 or 5, and they ended up getting a divorce. And when they got a divorce, then he went one way. My mother, she went uptown, and then we went and stayed with my grandmother.
What was your mama's name?
My mom's name was Georgia May Moore.
What was your daddy's name?
My dad's name was Sam Moore.
Do you remember your dad's name?
Yeah, his name was Sam Moore too.
Yeah, how many kids did Big Sam have?
I think they said it was about 16 of them in his family.
Okay.
And I think he said he was the oldest one.
How many your mama's mama, do you remember her?
Yeah, I think it was 4 or 5 boys and 2 girls.
All right, who were the 2 girls?
I don't know who was the oldest, Georgia May or Pearl. I don't know which one was oldest.
Okay. And the boy's name?
The boy's name was, the oldest one, he was dead. I never knew him. His name was Eddie. Eddie Moore.
All right.
And, but I didn't know him. He got killed. And, they were floating logs. They were saying he was floating logs down in the river or something. And anyway, he got hung up or something in the logs and he got drowned. That's all I knew about him, Eddie.
And what about the other boys?
And the other boy named, I didn't know them until I was about 8, 10 years old before I knew them. And one of them was named Champ. They called him Champ, but his real name was Charles Moore. And the other one was named Pee Wee. And his name was Lonzo. They always called him Pee Wee because he was short. And the other one named JD. JD might have been the oldest, I'm not for sure. And I didn't know him that well. And anyway, he got killed in a car accident. Like it blanked off the light. And he got killed in a car accident in 56, I think. 66 or 55, he got killed off on St. John Street.
Okay, you jumped ahead. Finish naming all the boys.
Okay, it was Howard and Garland and trying to think who's the other one. Let me see. I'm gonna start. John Hoover. Yeah, John Hoover. He was the baby, I think.
And
Yeah.
you were raised by, after your parents separated, you were raised by your grandmama.
Yeah, my grandmother's name.
What's her name?
Her name was Lena Moore.
Uh-huh.
And they were saying her maiden name was Lena Charles or something like that. I can't remember all that.
All right. And so what y'all do, you and your brother do?
Well, we started off at 5 years old. As my mom and my dad got divorced when we stayed with my grandmother, then me and my brother took care of the farm. And she had 2 farms. And then me and my brother, we took care of the farm. And we were just, 5, 6 years old. And we was out, had to plow the mule. Yeah, we go out there and plow the mule all day. And then we missed half of the school during the school season, like in May, June, and all that. We missed the school, especially when the farm stuff started coming in. And when the farm come, then hey, that's what we had to do. Then we had to dig up some new land so we can plant to do tobacco. First, you had to get the plants first. and we had to make a big bed, probably about 100 feet long, and probably about 20 feet wide. And we had to spread the seeds in there, and so we could get the plants. And then after the plants grow, then we had to plow the field up and make rows. And then we had to go and pull the plants up out of the tobacco bed. And then we had to go out in the field and plant it, each row at a time, one plant at a time. And we probably had probably about maybe about an acre or so of tobacco. And then after that, after you plant it, and then you got to wait until it started growing. Then we got to plow it. We had to take the cultivator out there and cultivate it. Well, let me get my phone right here. Yeah, and but anyway, we just, after that, we have to plant the tobacco. Then we have to hoe it, when the grass comes in. And then after tobacco grows so big, then we have to go out there and sucker it. You got those little leaves and stuff coming in between the leaves. And then after we suck, when you get we're talking about sucking, and then tobacco gets so tall, and then you got to top it, because it have seeds and stuff comes up on top of it, and we have to break the tops off of it so the tobacco leaves are spread. And after it spreads, then I think it's in around about 1st of July, last of June. I think that's when the time to get ready to harvest the tobacco. And because I can remember one time that we ended up tobacco. It was the 4th of July, I think, when we ended up. You have about 5 pulling. You have the first pulling you have. They call that the lugs. That's where all the grits and stuff and dirt and stuff on the leaves. And then the next 5 days we had to cure it in the tobacco barn. We had to loop it on a stick first. Loop it on the stick, pile it, and then at the end of the day, when you get through pulling the tobacco out of the field, I was one that, about 5, 6 years old. I had a mule and cart where I used to truck the tobacco to the tobacco barn, and that's where the women's up to the tobacco barn. That's where they looped it back on a stick, and the stick could be about 4 feet, maybe 5 feet long.
So you were handling the wagon when you was how old?
About 6,
Okay.
about 6, 7, 8. I did that up until I was about 10. And me and my brother, we started off early. And when we first started working out, we would do our farm, and we had this other guy. He was a real super guy to us, he was a rich guy, and he had lots of land, and we'd make our little side money and go and work for him, pulling weeds out of the peanuts and stuff like that.
Oh, he ain't say nothing about raising peanuts, too.
Yeah, raising peanuts. Yeah, that was our sucking. That was our sucking harvest.
Okay.
Yeah, peanuts. Yeah, we had to dig the peanuts and let them set out in the field for a few days, and then we go back, and then we got poles. We got to dig holes in the ground and put poles in it. Poles would be about 8 feet tall, and then we had to take the peanuts after they dry out a little bit. Then we take the peanuts and stack them around the pole. Then we make a great big stack. The stack probably be about 5 feet around, and it probably be about 6, 8 feet, about 6 feet high on the pole. And you just go through the field and stack them up just like that. And then they're set until about end of September, November. And then you got to go out there and harvest them after the peanuts dry on the pole. And then you got to come back and haul the peanuts up to the pea picker, they call it, where it shakes all the leaves and stuff off of. Peanuts go one way, the leaves go the other way. Then you got these bags, probably weighed about 100 pounds.
You were 8 years old picking up 100-pound bag?
Me and my brother. Yeah. Hey, we did men work. We didn't do no kid work. We did men. All the work we did was men work.
All right. So how you end up coming to Michigan?
Well, my mother's friend, he came down there during Christmas, and he asked that I wanted to come to Michigan. And I was about 10, roughly about 10. I said, yeah. And threw the little clothes and stuff in the little bag, and we hopped in this. He had about I think it was a 49 or 50 Pontiac. And we got in that Pontiac and came back, and at that time I didn't know nothing about Ohio and all of them states and stuff. And anyway, we ran into a snowstorm, and we had to stay at the rest area. It was a service center.
Oh.
It was a service center because that was on a turnpike.
Turnpike.
Yeah. And then we spent the night at the turnpike, at the service center. And then the next morning had the road clear. And then we came on back to Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we made it, but at that time we didn't have no expressway.
Where'd you live when you came to Flint?
I lived with my mother. My mother's name was Georgia May Moore. And I really never seen no real bathroom. Sure, when I saw a bathroom with a sink and stuff in it, sure, I thought that was a fountain, where you drink water though. I didn't know nothing about no toilet and stuff like that. That was the first time I ever seen a flush toilet. In a bathtub, shit, I ain't never seen no bathtub before. Yeah, and but anyway, that's where I growed up, in Flint on Maple Street.
All right, in St. John's area.
On the St. John area.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 1960, around about 69, the urban renewal came through. And then my mother, and I ended up finding her a house in another area. And ended up finding a house that was the nicest house she ever had in her life.
All right, you jumped ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
You skipped all your work.
Oh, I used to work too. I used to work with my cousin, go out there and do concrete work and do whatever.
Who?
Do odds and ends. His name was Charlie Moore, my cousin. And Ray and Jimmy Moore. Jimmy, I think he was he had another one named Charles Moore. He was named after his dad.
Okay.
I didn't really know him that well, cause I think he lived in New York with his mother or something.
Okay.
Yeah, he was he must have been about 17, 18 when he came and stayed with his dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
What employment did you have after high school?
Oh, I worked I worked at a place called Home Dairy. It was a restaurant, and I was a dishwasher for about 6 months. And then I moved up to pots and pans. That was better pay. Then I had to do cleaning up, and when they do parties and stuff, and I used to go and have to clean up on Sundays, the hall and stuff, and just odds and I did lots of odds and ends stuff there. And plus I had all the other end jobs too at that time, cutting grass and stuff. I had one of them old push mower, one of them cycle one.
You're always a hustler.
Yeah, I worked. Yeah, I worked. The only way I made a little money. And then I remember had some friends, people that, they was kind of wealthy. And like Dr. Mansworth, and I would go and take care of his lawn. And, take care of whatever he needed to be done around his house. I took care of that. Then after that, at the same time, Dr. Mansworth sold his house. And I still took care of the lawn and stuff. L.G. Tadry bought his place. And then I started working for L.G. Tadry. And I worked for L.G. Tadry for about 15 years or so. And then LJ Tadger, you know, he was doing taxes down Detroit Street. And then I would go down and take care of his place there, and then take care of his place on Welch Boulevard. And yeah, whatever he need done, I used to take care of that, rake the grass, and you know, just do whatever, you know, if he needed cleaning up around, I did that, windows or whatever he needed, I took care of it for him. And then I had another job, janitor work, and I was working for Marathon, and I worked for Marathon for 27 years. And
part-time.
That was my part-time job plus my regular job. And plus I was always, before that, in 60 I was working in the shop, Fisher Body, and I got laid off. And when I was laid off, and then I met Glenn, and we went together for about a year, and something happened, and you know, she wanted to go to Arkansas. She didn't want to go to a funeral. One of her friends got hit by a train or something and died, and she wanted to go down to the funeral. That was in 61, and I took her to, oh, let me back it up before that. That was still in 61. My mother, she wanted to go to North Carolina to, you know, see up, you know, some of her family that she hadn't seen in 10 years or so. And I took her to North Carolina, and that was my first trip traveling by myself, you know, me and Glenn. And we wasn't married then. And I had never been on the turnpike or nothing like that by myself. And I didn't really know how to read a map, and me and Glenn figured out how to read the map. And we got on the turnpike. First I was going the wrong way because I didn't know east or west or south or whatever. I didn't know the difference. Yeah, and I just, you know, just kept her going, you know. And I found out I had to go south. And then I turned around, and I didn't go that far. I had to go to the next exit. Then I turned around, came back, and got on the turnpike. No, I was still on the turnpike, and I had to go all the way down to the place they call, you have to go through tunnels, you know, you have to go through a couple mountains and stuff, you know. They had tunnels on the turnpike. And then there's a place where we get off at, a town called Breezewood. And we got on Breezewood, got to Breezewood, I don't remember the highway, I think it was 67 or something like that. But anyway, we got on that road, and then we had to look at the map and see where we had to go, because we had to go through Rocky Mount. And I had to look at the map and see what road to take you to Rocky Mount. And then we get Rocky Mount, and then we had to go around Rocky Mount. That was 95. And when you get off of when you get on 95, then we take 95 all the way to North Carolina. And they were called, I think it was a little green, called it Greensboro, something like that. And then take, I don't remember what the highway was then, but anyway, we had to go to Greensboro, through Greenwood. And then we leave Greenwood, then we go on ahead to Williamston, a little town called Williamston. And then we get to there, and then a little town called Janesville. That's where my grandmother was living, in this little town called Janesville. And anyway, we stayed down there for about a week or so. And then we end up coming back. You know, I'd seen some friends, and most of all the friends I went to school with, you know, they all left, went to New York or Baltimore, Maryland, or whatever, you know, they all scatter out. And lots of them I didn't get to see that I went to school with. Then lots of them had done died too. Because it was like, it was like about eight years later, you know, when I was down there. But lots of changed in about 8 years. Lots of changes. And like I say, I stayed down in North Carolina for about a week. And then we ended up coming back to Michigan. And we got back to Michigan, and like I say, that was in 1960, 61. That was in 61. And then that's when we was back about 2 days, and Glenn found out one of her friends got killed in Arkansas. And she wanted to go to Arkansas to the funeral. And I said, okay, I'll take you to Arkansas. My mother had a 56 Century, red and white. Boy, you talking about running, I was running to a car. And I took her car and took her to Arkansas. And while we was there, we ended up getting married. In Arkansas, 1961 in October the 18th.
August.
And
August.
August.
Yeah.
Yeah, August. I forgot the August. August 18th in 1961 when me and Glenn got married. And we had no idea about getting married. And it only cost me $17. And we had never talked about getting married either. We just, I don't know what happened, but we just ended up getting married. And we've been married, 62 years now. It'll be 63 in August. August 18th, it'll be 63 years. And, you know, that's part of my life. Me and Glenn had some good times, though. We traveled all over the United States, and we always traveling. Every summer we would travel and see relatives wherever they had. We would go and see. It didn't make no difference. We just take off and see. If they lived in New York, we would go to New York. Well, my cousin, she lived in Buffalo, New York, and we would go to Buffalo on holiday like July, September, you know, when holiday in September. And we would go to Buffalo and spend a night with my cousin.
What's your cousin's name?
Bert.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And she was a nice cousin. Her first husband died or something. I can't remember what happened to her first husband. And she was marrying this guy was a little bit older than she, and his name was Clyde. Now, I tell you why, they were a funny couple. Why, you could have made a movie with that couple. Yeah, and Clyde, he was a retired crane operator for one of the steel mills in Pittsburgh or somewhere around there. Yeah, he worked at a steel mill. And boy, every time we would go to Buffalo, man, boy, we got to have some fish. And that when her brother Mac and all them guys were living in Buffalo, man, we had some good time. And the dad was named James Perkins. And you talking about a story, boy, that old man could tell you some stories. Man, how they used to follow crops back in the 40s, late 40s and 50s. They used to follow crops, and then they end up in Buffalo, some parts of the 50s. Because we didn't start going to see them until the 60s when we started going to see them. But we used to have some good time there, though. Man, we just cook up some good fish, though. Man, never take the walk. It make no difference what time when we go there. We're gonna eat good. Yeah. And then we went to Niagara Falls. And on 4th of July, we used to go to Buffalo. We went to Buffalo to Niagara Falls at least about 3 times during the 4th of July. And now I took my granddaughter, Jamie, when she was living. I took her to Buffalo, New York. And she went there to see the Niagara Falls. I think that was in the 80s, I think. 80s.
No, 90s.
90s, yeah, it was in the 90s when
Jamie was born in 1990.
90, yeah. She was probably about 3 or